been an amazing story. In fact, it all started in 2010 when our CEO, Mr. Paul Jones, joined this company when it was on the verge of collapse. And he, along with the management in those days, transformed this company, rebranded the company. We really looked into the whole culture, the brand, the service philosophy, and brought out the best of elements, a new, lighter, brighter take on hospitality, as we call it. And that's how Lux was born. So the roots of all these awards that Lux Belmar has managed to get is actually in the whole service philosophy of Lux, is in the culture that we've managed to develop across the company. And that's where it really lies in.
Can you give me some examples of things that you do on a daily basis that create, I think it's aggregation of consistency, doing things differently?
When we became Lux, I'm going to refer to this because there's a lot of Lux in Lux Belmar, and we are no one without that culture and service philosophy. So 3 things that we decided to focus on as a company, and then it came down into all the managers and all the operators at the hotels. The first thing was to banish thoughtless patterns. And I think in our industry as hospitality, and especially in the 5-star luxury hotel segment, over the years, there have been a lot of thoughtless patterns that all hotels follow. So we decided to banish those thoughtless patterns and develop our own signature experiences. So we decided to become what we refer to as simple, but fresh and sensory, so that our guests could see the difference between others and us. And the third, and equally importantly, we decided to make the ordinary extraordinary. Let me give you, if I may, a couple of examples. When we talk of banishing thoughtless patterns, the one thing that we've successfully done, we realized is, as an example, every single guest room had over 90 pieces of stationery on an average in any hotel, any resort in the world. And likewise, it was the case with us. Now you're talking about all different kinds of cards that go into the room, advising the guests of policies and procedures on, call us for your clearance of the room, or call us for your turn down, or you name it. And we decided, and we said, this is a thoughtless pattern. Are the guests choosing to come to a particular hotel or a resort on a holiday to really get bogged down by all these seemingly thoughtless details? Or are they really coming to enjoy and forget about the daily chores that they are hassled with when back home? And we decided to simplify the things. We banished that thoughtless pattern of too many pieces of stationery in every guest room.
And it's also environmentally free.
Absolutely. And this I'm talking about 10 years ago, because many people today would think, oh, but that's a given today. No one puts all those pieces of stationery in the room. But 10 years ago, when it was the norm, we decided to kind of banish that practice, and it helped us a lot. It helped us in creating new ways of reaching out to the guests. Every single year, Lux has been following what we call an innovation challenge. Every single Lux resort needs to come up with an innovative idea based on a theme that is announced. And we have an external panel of jury who ranks those different entries. And we have one winner in the innovation challenge. I remember as Lux Belmar in 2011, we presented an idea called Lux Connect, which won one of the awards in that innovation challenge. And that in those days, before WhatsApp and WeChat and everything as of today, was the norm. There was nothing of this kinds in common practice then. And we found a simple, innovative way of connecting with our guests to avoid having those enormous amounts of paper going into guest rooms.
So I understand now where it originated from. So it's your innovation, because when I was working in one of the hotels in Lux in the Maldives, I was fascinated that I had someone to send me WhatsApp to check on me. And I think this is brilliant because, you know, it makes, from my perspective as a guest of yours,
Absolutely.
it was warm, it was personal, and it was worth the while for me. I felt more connected and more cared for.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. It's the connection that you mentioned. It's very personalized and it's insta, and that's what helps. So that was one example about banishing thoughtless patterns, and I can have countless more. When we talk about simple, fresh, and sensory, we came up with a lot of different experiences for guests. Let me elaborate on one particular example. You know, every one of us has a child in us, and that child loves ice creams. There would be probably a very few people, if you have to go asking them, do you like ice creams or otherwise? And we decided, or Lux decided, to take on this simple experience of an ice cream parlor, but to the next level. So what we did was we developed ice cream parlors under the name IC, which you would find in all Lux resorts, whereby we are making our own ice creams. Okay, it's not just one ice cream or two ice creams or four ice creams. We have as many as 16 special ice creams that are made in the hotel, and we change on a daily basis. So imagine as a guest, the variety and the focus on quality that you're providing to your guests. And the IC is that perfect example of taking something simple, but converting that into a fresh and a sensory experience for guests. Because they then, you're walking by the poolside or walking along the beach, you just simply can't resist indulging in that amazing experience of having a freshly made homemade ice cream.
And then you feel guilty and you go to your fantastic gym in order to exercise and put it away. Ashish, one of the things that impressed me was that you have your own leadership philosophy. And I think you mentioned in our early conversation the 3 A's.
Okay. Well, I think it's extremely critical in hospitality for any leader to focus on service. And I've always believed service is not a very simple term as it sounds, because not only is it time dependent, not only is it subjective from the point of view of the receptor or the receiver of service, but it's extremely critical when you're talking of luxury hospitality experiences. To me, as a leader, the story of service comes in form of 3 A's: anticipation, acknowledgement, and action.